Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Cooks by Carrie. If you're new here, I'm Carrie, and for today's Foodie Friday video, I decided to take another attempt at the viral baked oats. I got my recipes from @Trace'sOats on Instagram, and I will link his profile in the description down below. To start off this recipe, it tells me to preheat the oven up to 400, but I find that 350 works the best for baked oats. The first recipe I am starting out with is Thin Mint Baked Oats. This was not pictured in that first clip, but I did make them. This was probably my least favorite out of the three that I'm making today. But if Thin Mints are your thing, maybe this is for you. For this recipe, you are going to need some oats, oat milk, maple syrup, unsweetened cocoa powder, peppermint extract, chia seeds, some pumpkin puree, vanilla extract, baking powder, and a little bit of salt. Baked oats are really simple to make. Basically, I'm taking all the ingredients except for my protein powder and baking powder, and I'm going to blend them all up. You'll see here that I also added some Thin Mints I had on hand, so if this is something you have, you could do this too. Also, I did make kind of a mess when putting all the ingredients in there, so just be mindful of that. And yeah, I'm just going to blend them all up until they're smooth. But first, I'm just putting all the ingredients in my blender. And like I did in the last baked oats video, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. But I'm using my NutriBullet blender. Now I'm going to close the top of my blender and blend it on my extract setting. You might want to just do it on medium or high, or if you don't have an extract, just do it until all your ingredients are combined. And I know I had mentioned in my last oat video, I actually recommend not blending them, but after making them myself for a couple times, I've realized that the blending is actually really nice if it's done properly, like if all the ingredients mash up. So I do recommend blending your oats. Now that my oats are all blended, I'm going to pour them into a bowl, and I'm going to add my protein powder and mix it until it is all combined. Now, a weird thing might happen. You'll see that the protein powder kind of makes the batter a little bit of like almost elasticy, if that makes any sense. So you'll see that I add in some almond milk, a little bit more, just so that it is a little bit less thick. So you can add your milk of choice if this happens to you. Then after I do that, I'm going to add my baking powder. Now, when you add in the baking powder, if you let it sit on your counter for like a second, while you're, cleaning your dish or something, you will notice the mixture gets kind of foamy almost, but that is completely okay. I don't know why this happens, but I read somewhere that you don't want to blend the baking powder. I don't know why, but like it is very true. You don't want to blend it. So yeah, just do all that until everything is combined. Now I'm taking my dish of choice. Make sure it's oven safe and big enough to hold all your oats. I am using the full recipe that is listed on Trace'sOats Instagram. However, I kind of recommend, if you're just going to have one serving, I kind of recommend halving the recipes because it is a large amount. But if you want a large amount, then this is perfect. So anyway, I'm taking some coconut oil and I am heavily greasing the dish. I did not do this in the first video, and as if you've watched it, you would know that it is very, very hard to get out of the dish if you don't grease it. So like, do not skip on the greasing. If anything, do more than less. After I grease it, I'm just pouring in my batter and adding a Thin Mint to the top. And I'm just leaving it to the side until I finish with the other recipes. And then I'll put them all in the oven. Now for the second recipe for the baked oats, I decided to make banana bread baked oats, and this one was by far my favorite. The ingredients you're going to need are oats, milk of choice, banana, maple syrup, but I ran out so I had to use honey, vanilla, cinnamon, salt, chocolate chips, and some protein powder. Now, if you look on his recipe on his Instagram, it's going to give you the recipe for just like regular oatmeal, but I just took all the ingredients, changed it so that the oat to milk ratio was even and like 1 to 1, and just put everything in my blender. Now, like I did for the last recipe, I'm blending all the ingredients in the blender except for my chocolate chips, my protein powder, and my baking powder. And I'm adding them all to my blender. Now I'm repeating the second step to the last recipe, just blending it on extract or a similar setting on your own blender until all combined. You will notice that I have a couple oats at the top, and that's just kind of how it is. They kind of just stuck there, and I just made sure not to include them. But you could include them if you wanted more of an oat texture or whatever. So yeah. Now that my oats are all blended, I'm just repeating the process of the step 3 from before, putting them in a bowl, and since this mixture was already pretty thin, after I had the protein powder, I did not feel like I had to add more milk. So then, just after that's all combined, then I add the baking powder, and then after that, I add in about 3/4 of the chocolate chips, and I actually ended up putting a few more in because I felt like there wasn't a lot compared to the batter. So yeah, that's it. Now I am going ahead and greasing a mini bun pan. I actually ran out of bowls that were big enough for my batter, so I decided to use a bun pan. So if you want to make these into like muffins or anything like a shape like this, you totally can. It definitely works. So yeah, just greasing everything, and this is how much like coconut oil or whatever type of oil you're using you're gonna want. Like heavily grease it. And then here's my batter. And then you'll see I take like a ice cream scoop to scoop them in just so I can tell how many are going to go in each, how many scoops will fill each. But this is optional. You can just like use a spoon or even just like pour it over the side. And I put 2 scoops in each or a little bit more. My dad thought that this was going to overflow, but it actually did not. So for me, 2 scoops was a lot. And even though, or it was good. Like even though it is like filled, there's only like half an inch or maybe not even that at the top, this still did work. And then I'm just topping it with some chopped banana and some additional chocolate chips on the top. For the last baked oat recipe, I am making raspberry white chocolate oats. I've made this one before and I recommend this one, 10 out of 10. What you're going to need is some oats, oat milk or milk of choice, maple syrup, but I had run out, so I used some honey, chia seeds, banana, baking powder, a little bit of salt, raspberries. I used a mixture of frozen but thawed and regular, and they both worked. White chocolate, and I'm also using a scoop of protein powder. So that's all for this one. Like the past 2 recipes, I'm taking all my ingredients except for the baking powder and the protein powder, adding them to a blender and blending them up. Also, I'm not blending my chocolate chips or raspberries. So yeah. Now I'm going to blend my oats again on extract and until they're completely blended. Make sure blender's tight because I just had to double check that like everything was good, and I just want to shake it to make sure all the oats could go to the bottom. So yeah, that's it. Now I'm repeating the steps in the previous recipes, pouring the mixture into a bowl, adding my protein powder, mixing until combined, and since this one was thinner, then immediately after that, mixing in my baking powder. And now I'm stirring in about 3/4 of my white chocolate chips, but I'm not stirring in my raspberries. I actually would recommend stirring in raspberries. However, if they're frozen, they might get like their color in the batter, so you might not want to do it if you have frozen raspberries. That's why I chose not to do it. And like with the banana bread oats, I'm going ahead scooping about 2 scoops, a little bit more than that, into each of the tins, and then I am topping with my extra white chocolate chips and my raspberries. Now you'll notice I did not grease this, or I'm not showing it because I greased it last time, but still grease, 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 whatever pan you're using. Now, my oven's all preheated, all my oats are ready, and I'm popping them all in. And yeah, so we got the Thin Mint one and my little bundt cake ones. Now, before we continue with this video, please subscribe because I have a goal of 100 subscribers, so that would be really cool. Leave a thumbs up, click that notification bell to remember to see all my videos, and share this video with a friend if you find it cool. And also, let me know down below what you want to see next. Now, it has been 15 minutes, and I've checked my little mini bundt cake ones, and they were all cooked. They were coming out clean. Some people prefer their baked oats more raw, so you might, or not raw, but like, I guess more raw on the inside. I don't, so 15 minutes was perfect for me at 350, but you might have a different time. However, my Thin Mint baked oats were not ready until about 20 minutes after, but I'd start checking your oats at 15 minutes, regardless of what shape of pan you're using. But yeah, this is what those baked oats looked like, and they looked so good. Now, this was after about 20 minutes. You can see I've cut my bundt cakes on the side. I tasted them. They were so good. And this is what my baked oats looked like. So they looked pretty much the same, just had risen. And because I greased it, I don't show it here, but it was actually really easy to get out of the pan. And it tasted so delicious. Well, actually, I wouldn't say that about this one, but the other ones were really delicious. This one was okay, but I can find better ones. Here is a final photo of the raspberry baked oats, and they were so good. Highly recommend. I hope these tips helped. I hope you like this updated version of the baked oats. If you try them, let me know what you thought of them in the comments down below. Alrighty guys, that's it for today's Foodie Friday video. I hope you liked it. If you did, make sure to do all those things I said in the middle of the video, like, comment, subscribe, turn that notification bell on, comment down below, and make sure, if you're not, go follow me on Instagram at Cooks by Carrie. I post lots of fun photos of the food I cook. And that's all. I'll see you on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another video. Bye guys.